This is not just a story. This is your story. The story of how everything fell apart. Quietly, suddenly, painfully. Maybe it was heartbreak. Maybe it was failure. Maybe it was just life pulling the ground from under your feet. You didn't see it coming. One day you were holding it all together, and the next you were just surviving. There were no fireworks, no loud warnings, just a silent collapse inside your soul. You tried to smile. You tried to move forward, but something inside was gone. You felt lost in the noise of the world, like everyone was moving on except you. And that's where this journey begins. Not in triumph, not in victory, but in the quiet ruins of what used to be your life. There is a silence that follows pain, a long, heavy silence. No one talks about it. That space after heartbreak, after failure, when everything slows down. The world doesn't stop for your pain, but inside, time feels frozen. Friends don't call as often. The phone gets quieter. The nights grow longer, and you're left alone with your thoughts. This is where many people give up. But this is also where something beautiful can begin. The Stoics teach us that we don't control what happens, only how we respond. So in this silence, in this stillness, a whisper appears. What this pain is not the end, but the beginning. You begin to face yourself. Not the version you show others, but the one you've ignored. The tired version, the wounded version, the one who's been pretending for so long. You see the lies you've told yourself. The people you kept to avoid being alone, the dreams you postponed, and for the first time, you stop running. You sit with your own darkness. It's terrifying, but necessary, because no healing happens until you look into your own mirror and say, I deserve more than this. You begin to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Then something shifts. It's small, a breath, a moment, a morning when you feel just a little bit lighter. That's the whispered change. You stop blaming others. You stop waiting for someone to come save you. You realize the person you've been waiting for is you. You begin to rebuild. Slowly, silently, stoically. No grand gestures. Just simple habits. Making your bed. Drinking water. Saying no. Walking in the sun. You begin to separate what you can control from what you cannot. The Stoics call this the dichotomy of control. And once you learn this, your peace begins. You start to detach from noise, from distractions, from people who never saw your worth. And it hurts, but you also feel lighter because you're no longer carrying the weight of trying to be loved by everyone. You stop chasing validation. You stop explaining yourself. You realize you're not what others think. You are what you choose to become. You begin to walk alone, and for the first time, it doesn't scare you. It empowers you. You see the world differently now. You no longer need chaos to feel alive. Peace becomes your new home. Your strength returns. But it's not loud. It's not angry. It's calm, quiet, solid. You don't fight every battle. You don't answer every insult. Because you finally understand not everything needs your reaction. The Stoics call this apatheia, inner stillness. And when you taste it, you never want to go back. You forgive those who hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. And most of all, you forgive yourself for staying too long, for trying too hard, for not knowing better, because now you do. Then one day you wake up and you feel different, not perfect, not invincible, but free. You realize your past didn't break you. It built you. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from wisdom, from scars, from silence. You didn't just survive. You transformed. And that's the art of starting over. It's not about proving anything to the world. It's about coming home to yourself. Sometimes the most powerful transformations come not from motivation, but from collapse. Not from clarity, but confusion. Not from feeling ready, but from being broken. Rock bottom isn't the end. It's the beginning. The painful beginning of a beautiful, uncomfortable, necessary process. Reconstruction. When everything falls apart, you're forced to see what was never built on a solid foundation. You realize what parts of your life were simply routines, inherited habits, conditioned expectations, or someone else's definition of success. The break comes with silence. The phone stops buzzing. The plans fall through. People drift away. And in that hollow space, you meet the version of yourself you've been avoiding, the one that's tired of pretending, the one that's been whispering, "There has to be more." We're taught to fear starting over, as if beginning again means we've failed. But the truth is, only the brave start over, because starting over means walking away from comfort. It means asking deeper questions. It means burning old bridges without knowing where the next road begins. And here's the thing about those who rise after the fall. They're not stronger because they never broke. They're stronger because they rebuilt every piece themselves. You learn how to breathe through anxiety. You learn how to sit with your sadness without numbing it. You learn how to forgive yourself for the years you wasted, the people you trusted, the potential you ignored. You stop blaming the world, and you start reclaiming your power. This is your break, but not the break that ruins you. The break that reveals you, the one that removes every distraction, every excuse, and every lie you told yourself to stay small. You don't have to go back to the person you were. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to say, "That version of me didn't know better, but I do now." This is where you stop being a passenger in your life. This is where you stop waiting to feel ready and decide that today, broken or not, you will begin again, wiser, stronger, clearer. Say it aloud like a promise. I am rebuilding. I am not who I was, and that is my power. This break did not destroy me. It woke me up, and from this moment forward, I rise. So now you've broken. You've sat in the silence. You've faced your fears and told yourself the truth. You've made a decision to start again, but decisions alone don't change your life. Discipline does. See, motivation is a spark. It comes and goes. It depends on how you feel. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline shows up even when you don't want to, even when you're tired, even when your heart is heavy, even when no one's watching. This is a part of the journey where most people quit because rebuilding is slow. It's not exciting. There's no applause. There's no fast result. It's just you and your habits and your thoughts and your pain. But every single great life was built in this space, not in the spotlight, in the shadows, in the small, repeated choices that no one sees. Waking up early, sitting in stillness, choosing silence over reaction, drinking water instead of escaping, walking instead of scrolling, reading instead of complaining. This is how you rebuild. Not with grand moves, but with consistent steps. Not with hype, but with honor. Every time you say, "I will show up," and you do, even a little, you begin to trust yourself again. And that's everything. Because the real damage wasn't that you failed. It was that you stopped trusting your own word. So rebuild your integrity one day at a time. Say less. Do more. Don't make promises. Just prove it. Let your new life be quiet, private, sacred, not for others to like. For you to live, start with the basics. Make your bed, not because it changes the world, but because it changes your relationship with effort. You tell yourself, "I am the kind of person who finishes things." Then finish your breakfast, finish your reading, finish your walk, finish your thoughts. Learn to sit with discomfort. Discomfort is the doorway to growth. The Stoics taught us, if you want to be unshakable, do not seek a life without challenge. Seek to be the person who is not broken by it. So welcome the struggle. You're not a victim of it. You're a builder now, brick by brick, step by step. No one needs to know what you're doing. Let them wonder. Let them talk. Let your actions speak louder than your wounds. And when it gets hard, and it will, remember this. You already survived the worst day of your life. You've already felt pain and kept breathing. You've already been lost and made it here. So what's stopping you from going further? You're not weak. You're just new. This version of you is just being born. And all new things need time. So don't rush your healing. Don't rush your power. Plant your feet. Breathe deeply. And build your life from the inside out. With calm, with courage, and with discipline. Because the life you're dreaming of is not made by luck. It's made by quiet, consistent, disciplined days. And this is day one. You've broken. You've awakened. You've started rebuilding. And now comes the part most people avoid. Letting go. It sounds peaceful, like it's a gentle release. But the truth is, letting go is violent. It rips through your soul. It challenges everything you've clung to, old versions of yourself, people you thought you'd never live without, dreams that didn't work out, stories you've told yourself for years, just to survive. Letting go is not weakness. It's a sacred act of strength, because holding on, that's easy. Anyone can hold on to the past, to comfort, to bitterness, to habits that destroy, to people who've already let you go, but never said it out loud. Letting go means you finally stop pretending. It means you stop waiting for the apology that won't come. It means you stop hoping someone else will see your worth. You see it yourself. It means you choose peace over control. You choose growth over comfort. You choose reality over illusion. And yes, it hurts, not because it's wrong, but because we confuse familiarity with safety. We think, if I let this go, who will I be? If I stop chasing this, what's left? If I walk away from what I've always known, will I be alone? But listen closely. You're not afraid of letting go. You're afraid of the emptiness that follows. That temporary, quiet space where nothing is certain, where you have to sit with yourself and listen to who you really are, not who you were taught to be. But emptiness isn't the enemy. It's the blank canvas, the fertile ground, the silence before the music, the inhale before the leap. Letting go is not losing. It's choosing. It's choosing yourself. You're not abandoning your past. You're honoring it by not staying stuck in it. You're not erasing your story. You're writing a new chapter where you are the author now, not the pain. Let go of the guilt. You did the best you could with what you knew. Let go of the blame. They were broken too, and broken people break others. Let go of the version of you that needed validation to feel worthy. You've outgrown that skin. You're no longer a character in someone else's narrative. You are your own. Let go of the timelines. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where your healing requires you to be. Let go of the what-ifs. Let go of the almosts. Let go of the ghost versions of your life, the ones that only exist in your head, because the truth is, you can't receive what's meant for you until you make space by releasing what's not. And I know some things you'll never forget, but healing doesn't mean erasing. It means no longer carrying it. You don't owe your pain a permanent place. You don't owe your history a home in your future. Letting go means, I accept what was. I forgive what hurt. I release what no longer grows me. It's not about getting over it. It's about getting free. So if today your hands are shaking, and your heart is heavy, and your mind is spinning with everything you might lose, pause, place your hand over your heart, and say this, not as a wish, but as a truth. I am ready to release what I cannot control. I am ready to rise without what once weighed me down. I am ready to move forward, even if I walk alone, because peace is more valuable than familiarity. You don't need to hold it anymore. Let it go. Let it burn. Let it drift. Let it dissolve. Let it transform. Because on the other side of letting go is the version of you that's been waiting to finally breathe. There comes a point in the journey where you look around and realize no one's walking beside you. The messages stop. The room gets quieter. The support you once depended on fades. Not because you're unworthy, but because growth is a lonely road. You stop fitting into old friendships. You start seeing through shallow conversations. You distance yourself from anything that pulls you backward. And it feels like loss. Because in many ways, it is. You've lost the need to belong where you're not seen. You've lost the comfort of hiding in the crowd. You've lost the safety of being liked by people who don't even know the real you. But hear this. You are not alone. You are walking ahead. Most people never leave the path everyone else is on. They settle. They stay in circles that shrink them. They avoid silence because they're afraid of who they'll meet there. But you chose truth. You chose alignment. You chose becoming the person you were meant to be, even if no one clapped for you along the way. There's a strength in solitude that no crowd can give you. There's clarity in silence that no noise can match. When you walk alone, you hear your own voice. You realize how loud the world had become, how distracted you were, and suddenly you start making decisions from a different place. Not fear, not pressure, not habit, but vision. This is where you learn who you really are. When no one's validating you, when no one's calling to check in, when it's just you showing up anyway, for your peace, for your discipline, for your future. You stop asking, who's with me? And start asking, what am I here to do? That's purpose. Purpose is not always exciting. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's silent. But it always calls you forward. You don't need a crowd. You need direction. You don't need to be understood. You need to be true. You don't need more people. You need deeper conviction. Because here's the truth. The greatest breakthroughs happen in the wilderness, not the spotlight, not the celebration, but the unseen hours where your only company is your own commitment. So walk alone, with your head high and your soul grounded. Let the world call it isolation. You know it's evolution. You're not here to convince anyone. You're here to become someone. And becoming requires space, stillness, focus. Every legend you've ever admired, they walked alone. They were misunderstood. They were doubted, overlooked, ignored, until they weren't. But the goal was never attention. It was impact. So keep walking, keep building, keep rising. You are not behind. You are not missing out. You are becoming unshakable. And when your tribe finds you, and they won't complete you. They'll recognize you. They'll meet you at your level. Not because you waited, but because you walked. So walk, even if no one claps. Walk, even if no one gets it. Walk, even if it hurts. Because this road, though lonely, leads you home. There's a moment, often quiet, unnoticed by the world, when you begin to remember who you are, not the version you showed to be accepted, not the mask you wore to be loved, not the roles you played to feel useful, but the real you, the one beneath the pain, the one before the world told you who to be, the one who has always been worthy, even when you forgot. This is the chapter where you return to yourself. And no, it doesn't happen in a single day. It happens in whispers, in little rebellions against self-abandonment, in small, sacred choices that say, I matter. You start saying no to what drains you. You stop shrinking to keep others comfortable. You stop apologizing for your sensitivity, your ambition, your truth. You start taking up space, not with arrogance, but with integrity. You stop proving. You stop performing. You stop begging for love in rooms where you're only tolerated, because you finally understand. You were never hard to love. You were just trying to be loved in the wrong places. Let that sink in. Your worth was never missing. It was just buried under layers of conditioning, comparison, and quiet desperation. You thought success would prove it. You thought relationships would fix it. You thought if you were just better, thinner, smarter, quieter, nicer, you'd finally feel enough. But the truth is, there's nothing you can add to make you more worthy, and nothing you can lose that will make you less. You were enough before the world convinced you otherwise. Self-worth isn't loud. It's not a quote on your wall. It's not a caption or a performance. It's a quiet knowing that you no longer need to earn your place in the world. You belong just as you are, and from that knowing, everything changes. You stop chasing. You start choosing. You stop surviving. You start living. Because when you know your worth, you no longer tolerate half love, half effort, half truths. You don't beg. You don't chase. You don't settle. You don't fear being alone because you've tasted the power of being whole. You trust your intuition. You guard your energy. You walk away with peace instead of resentment. Not because you're bitter, but because you're better. Better at listening to yourself. Better at holding boundaries. Better at honoring your needs without guilt, without shame. And when the world tries to pull you back into your old patterns, when you're tempted to prove yourself again, pause, breathe, and remember You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be real. You are not here to be chosen. You are here to choose yourself. You are not here to please the world. You are here to create a life that feels good in your soul, even if no one else claps for it. So keep rising. Keep shedding the layers that never belonged to you. Keep returning, over and over, to the truth of your worth. Because when you live from that place, everything aligns. The right people arrive. The wrong ones fall away. The path clears. The peace comes. Not because you found it out there, but because you remembered it was always within you. And now, you're not becoming someone else. You're just finally becoming yourself. The world is loud. It's always pulling at you, scrolling, comparing, reacting, voices, opinions, notifications, all demanding your attention. You wake up and before your feet hit the ground, someone else's life is already on your screen. Someone else's beauty, someone else's success, someone else's relationship, house, car, smile. And suddenly, yours doesn't feel like enough. You were calm when you woke up. Now you're anxious. You were proud of your progress. Now you feel behind. You were centered. Now you're spinning. And that's the game. That's how the world steals your power. Silently, gradually, consistently. But here's the truth. Your peace is sacred. Your attention is valuable. Your energy is your responsibility. Because everything you consume, everything you allow into your mind, into your body, into your space, either builds you or breaks you. So this chapter is about reclaiming it, not with force, not with anger, but with quiet, radical self-respect. Step 1, create sacred boundaries. Not all access is earned. Not everyone who wants your time deserves your energy. Stop explaining your boundaries to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. You don't need to justify your peace. It's okay to say, I don't have the capacity for this conversation right now. I'm focusing on my own healing. That doesn't align with who I'm becoming. You don't owe your burnout to anyone's comfort. Distance doesn't always mean disconnection. Sometimes it means healing in private. Sometimes it means loving people from afar while loving yourself up close. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about keeping your soul intact. Step 2, be careful what you let in. Every scroll rewires your brain. Every conversation plants a seed. Every environment either fuels you or drains you. Are you consuming information that makes you anxious or empowered? Are you surrounding yourself with people who celebrate your growth or people who secretly resent it? Are you watching others live their lives while forgetting to live your own? This world thrives on distraction, but your power is in your presence. Unfollow what triggers self-doubt. Mute what feels performative. Log off when it stops serving you. You are not required to stay connected to everything. You're allowed to protect your space. Step 3, slow down. In a world obsessed with speed, slowing down is an act of rebellion. Everyone's rushing to success, to answers, to love, to somewhere, anywhere but here. But what if you paused? What if you gave yourself permission to breathe, to feel, to move at the pace of alignment, not urgency? Productivity without purpose is just noise. Busyness doesn't mean progress. So today, let yourself slow down. Sip your coffee without rushing. Take a walk without your phone. Say no to things that aren't aligned, even if they're good opportunities. Because the most important opportunity is to stay connected to your truth. Step 4, listen to yourself again. Under all the noise, the algorithms, the voices, the opinions, your inner voice still exists. That voice that says, I need rest. I'm not okay. I deserve more. I'm ready. But you won't hear it until you get quiet enough to listen. And that's what protecting your energy is really about. It's not just about bubble baths and saying no. It's about creating a life where you are in tune with yourself, where you can hear your soul before the world drowns it out, where your intuition leads and the noise fades. You deserve that kind of life, one where you don't feel constantly exhausted, constantly comparing, constantly reaching for peace but never finding it. Because peace isn't found, it's protected. And finally, You don't need to be available all the time. Not everyone should have access to you. Not every question needs an answer. Not every energy needs a reaction. You're not rude for protecting your space. You're not cold for choosing peace. You're not selfish for prioritizing your healing. You are sovereign. You are allowed to turn inward. You are allowed to reserve your energy for what actually matters. And when you do, you'll feel it. The anxiety softens. The comparisons stop. The guilt fades. And you return slowly, gently to yourself. So protect your energy. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. It's not isolation. It's alignment. It's not selfish. It's survival. In a world that's constantly trying to get your attention, protecting your peace is the most radical thing you can do. You've been taught to hurry. From the moment you could walk, you were pushed to move faster. Hurry up and grow. Hurry up and succeed. Hurry up and figure all out. So you did. You rushed into dreams you didn't fully understand. You rushed into relationships that didn't honor you. You rushed to prove yourself, to be ahead, to be seen, to be on track. But one day, you hit a wall. Maybe everything collapsed. Or maybe it just stopped feeling right. That's when you realized you don't even know who you are anymore. You've been running so fast. You forgot where you were going. So you pause. You breathe. And you hear a whisper. You don't have to rush anymore. Because healing is not a race. Becoming is not a deadline. Your journey isn't late. Your soul isn't behind. It's unfolding, exactly as it should. The pressure to be there already, we all have this invisible timeline in our heads. By 25, I should be successful. By 30, I should be married. By 35, I should have it all together. And when life doesn't match that schedule, we panic, we compare, we shame ourselves for being late. But late by whose standards? Whose timeline are you living on? Because life doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in cycles, in seasons, in quiet revolutions you don't always see until later. What feels like delay is often preparation. What feels like failure is often redirection. What feels like being lost is often the first step to being found. So release the pressure. Let go of the timeline. Breathe deeper into this truth. You are exactly where you need to be. Seeds don't bloom overnight. Think about a seed. It disappears into darkness. It breaks apart underground. No one claps. No one sees it. But slowly, quietly, it takes root. And only after it's ready, after it's formed something deep and unseen, does it rise. You are that seed. So if you feel buried right now, if everything feels quiet, stuck, or still, maybe you're not behind. Maybe you're becoming. Your roots are forming. Your foundation is growing. And when it's time, not when you're pressured, you'll bloom, but not before, because real growth cannot be rushed. Real strength isn't found in rushing. It's found in trusting. Stop forcing. Start flowing. You can't force clarity. You can't rush healing. You can't demand peace. The more you force, the more life resists. But when you surrender, not give up, but let go, everything softens. Life moves when you stop chasing. Opportunities come when you stop grasping. People align when you stop begging for them. Because you are not behind. You are in flow. You're learning what you needed to learn. You're letting go of what's not meant for you. You're building an internal life that your external life will soon reflect. So be patient with yourself. Rest is part of progress. Silence is part of transformation. Stillness is not stagnation. It's where your wisdom grows. Celebrate the small, quiet wins. We live in a world obsessed with milestones. The big ones, the loud ones, the visible ones. But your most powerful moments? They're often the ones no one sees. The morning you got out of bed when you didn't want to. The night you didn't text them back. The hour you chose healing over distraction. The moment you believed in yourself again. Celebrate those. Because that's where change lives. Not in one giant leap, but in small, daily acts of courage. Your progress is real, even if no one claps. Your timeline is valid, even if no one understands. Your growth is happening, even if no one sees it. Divine timing is real. You're not waiting. You're aligning. You're not falling behind. You're being prepared. You're not off track. You're being rerouted towards something better, something deeper, something truer. The friendships that last, they'll find you. The love that honors you, it's worth the wait. The opportunities that light you up, they arrive when your energy is ready to hold them. So instead of asking, why is it taking so long? Start asking, who am I becoming while I wait? Because that's the real gift. Not what you get, but who you become. So no, you don't have to rush. Not your healing, not your success, not your love, not your peace. Let it unfold. Let it breathe. Let it rise in its own divine rhythm. Because the best things in life, they're never rushed. They're grown. And you, my friend, are growing into something extraordinary. You try to hold everything together. You plan. You prepare. You give your all. You hope if you just try hard enough. Things will go your way. They'll stay. They'll love you. They'll choose you. They'll understand. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes life doesn't listen to your plans. People leave. Opportunities fall through. Dreams don't unfold the way you imagined. And in those moments, you're left holding the weight of something you cannot fix. No matter how much you want to, you keep replaying it, wondering what you could have said, what you could have done differently, blaming yourself for what was never in your hands. But here's a truth that might shake you at first, and then free you. It's not all yours to carry. You are not responsible for everything. You are not responsible for how others receive your truth. You are not responsible for the paths people choose. You are not responsible for someone else's healing, change, or clarity. You can love them. You can speak gently. You can show up honestly. But after that, you have to let go. Because holding on to what you can't control doesn't protect you. It poisons you. It steals your peace. It drowns your spirit. It keeps you trapped in imaginary battles, fighting for closure that may never come. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you finally understand that love doesn't always mean staying. That healing sometimes means walking away. That peace isn't found in control, but in surrender. You let go, not because you stopped loving. You let go because you love yourself enough to stop bleeding for something that won't heal. You've done your part. You've given your best. And now, the rest is not yours to fix. Let that be enough. Some things fall apart for your protection. It won't feel like it at first. It will feel like loss, like failure, like punishment. But often, the universe removes what you think you want to make space for what your soul truly needs. That job that rejected you, it would have drained you. That person who walked away, they couldn't love you the way you deserve. That plan that collapsed, it wasn't in alignment with your purpose, even if your ego wanted it. You don't see it yet, but it's all redirection. Sometimes peace doesn't come from fixing the situation. It comes from trusting that not everything that falls apart is meant to be saved. You can grieve and still let go. Letting go doesn't mean you skip the sadness. Cry, grieve. Let yourself feel the full depth of the disappointment. Give your heart space to break and breathe. This isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about not letting the pain chain you. Let yourself mourn. But don't build your future around what broke you. Because healing begins with this one choice. I release what I cannot hold anymore. Not because I don't care, but because I do. Because I care about my peace, my growth, my future. You can only control 3 things. In this life, there are only 3 things truly within your control. How you show up, how you respond, what you choose to focus on. Everything else, it lives outside of you. So stop trying to manage someone else's behavior. Stop trying to script how it all turns out. Stop living in imaginary futures, waiting for certainty to feel safe. Freedom isn't found in knowing what happens next. It's found in trusting yourself no matter what happens. You are not powerless. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are learning the art of detachment with grace, of releasing without bitterness, of loving without controlling, of walking away without hate. Let go so you can move forward. You cannot carry everything. You cannot heal if you stay stuck in stories that no longer serve you. You cannot rise if you're always looking back. You cannot grow if your hands are clenched around what should have been. So unclench your fists, exhale, whisper, I surrender, not in weakness, but in power. Because letting go doesn't mean you lost. It means you chose freedom over fear. You trusted yourself enough to move forward, even with a heart that still aches, even with answers you'll never get, even with an ending that didn't feel fair. And that, right there, is strength. So let go. Let go of the idea that it had to happen the way you planned. Let go of the version of you who thought they couldn't survive this. Let go of what's not yours to carry anymore. What's meant for you will never need to be forced. What's real will never ask you to betray yourself to keep it. And what's ahead is greater than what you've lost. If you're brave enough to release the weight and walk forward with open hands. You used to know who you were before the world told you who to be, before the comparisons, before the criticism, before the heartbreaks and broken promises made you question your own worth. Somewhere along the way, you stopped trusting your own voice. You started second-guessing everything. You needed validation. You needed reassurance. You needed someone, anyone, to tell you that you were enough. But here's the truth no one tells you. The loudest confidence isn't always real. It's the quiet kind, the steady, grounded, calm belief that you'll be okay. That changes everything. Confidence isn't loud. It's rooted. Real confidence isn't about dominating a room. It's not about being the loudest or the most charismatic. It's not about fake smiles or forced energy. It's about walking into your life, unshaken, unapologetic, and unafraid to be fully yourself. It's when you say, I don't need everyone to like me. I don't need to explain myself. I don't need to chase what's not meant for me. Confidence is quiet because it doesn't argue. It doesn't beg. It doesn't prove. It simply knows. Rebuilding trust with yourself. When you've been ignored, overlooked, or betrayed, even by your own choices, it's easy to stop trusting your instincts. You think, how can I trust myself again when I've made so many mistakes? But what if your mistakes weren't signs that you're broken, but signs that you were learning? What if those wrong turns were lessons in disguise? What if trusting yourself isn't about being perfect, but being honest? Honest enough to say, I got it wrong, but I still deserve grace. I didn't know better, but now I do. I fell down, but I still rise. Every time you listen to your gut and follow through, you build that trust again. You don't need permission. You've been waiting for it. Someone to say you're allowed to start. Someone to say you're enough to be seen. Someone to say, now's the time. But let this chapter be that voice. You don't need permission to take up space. Not from your past. Not from your parents. Not from society. Not from fear. You are not too much. You are not behind. You are not a mistake. You are a story in motion. And every chapter you write is worthy. So speak the idea. Start the project. Wear the thing. Walk away. Say no. Say yes. Reclaim your timeline. The only validation you need is your own alignment. Your energy doesn't lie. There are moments when you feel it, when your body knows the truth before your mind can name it. That pit in your stomach? That's not overthinking. It's misalignment. That sense of ease with someone new? That's safety. That tiredness around certain people? That's your soul asking to rest. That spark in your chest when you talk about a dream? That's direction. Learn to trust that. You don't need to explain your intuition. You don't need to debate your boundaries. You don't need to justify your joy. The more you honor your energy, the louder your inner voice becomes. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself. Start small. Wake up when you say you will. Do one thing that stretches you. Protect your boundaries, even when it's hard. Follow through, even when no one's watching. Because every time you do, you whisper to yourself, I can rely on you. I've got your back. I trust you. And that's unshakable. That's not ego. That's self-respect. You are not what they did to you. Your confidence may have been broken by people who didn't see you, who made you question your value, your voice, your vision. But their inability to recognize your worth says everything about them and nothing about you. They didn't break you. They awakened you. Now you see clearer. Now you choose differently. Now you rise from the ashes of every not enough you've ever heard and walk into the truth of who you've always been. Worthy, whole, and wildly capable. So start now. Trust you again. Let this be the moment you stop outsourcing your power. Stop asking for approval. Stop needing to be chosen. Choose yourself. Again, and again, and again. Even when you doubt. Even when you're scared. Even when you have no idea what comes next. That quiet voice inside of you, it's been waiting patiently. It's still there beneath the noise. And it's ready to lead. You just have to listen. Because once you trust yourself again, you become unshakable. You've been praised for being strong, for holding it all together, for pushing through, for showing up even when you're tired, even when you're breaking, even when your soul is whispering, please slow down. You've learned to wear exhaustion like a badge, to equate rest with laziness, to measure your worth by how much you produce, how much you give, how much you sacrifice. But here's the truth no one taught you. You do not have to earn rest. You don't have to collapse first. You don't have to prove how hard it's been. You don't have to break down just to justify pausing. Rest is not a reward. It's a requirement. The world doesn't pause, but you should. There's always another message, another task, another responsibility waiting. And because life keeps moving, you think you have to keep up, that if you slow down, you'll fall behind, that if you rest, everything will fall apart. But what if this constant motion is exactly what's keeping you from yourself? Because you're not a machine. You're not built to run on empty. You're a living soul, not a system to optimize. And burnout doesn't ask for permission. It arrives quietly, steals your joy, dulls your spark, numbs your creativity, until one day you wake up exhausted, disconnected, and unsure how long it's been since you last felt alive. Rest is rebellion. In a world addicted to productivity, rest is radical. Rest is resistance. Rest is a way of reclaiming your humanity. They told you to hustle, to grind, to stay ahead, to never stop. But what if the real success is knowing when to pause? What if the wisest thing you could do right now is nothing? Not forever. Just for long enough to hear yourself again, to catch up with your own heart, to let your body exhale and say, thank you for not abandoning me anymore. You don't need to apologize for needing a break. You've been conditioned to feel guilty, to apologize for taking space, to feel bad for saying, I can't today, to believe your value is in how much you can endure. But needing rest doesn't make you weak. It means you're listening. It means you're finally honoring what your soul has been trying to say. You are not meant to be on 24/7. You are not a robot. You are not a resource to be drained. You're a human being with cycles, seasons, limits. And the sooner you respect those limits, the longer and more powerful you'll be able to move forward without losing yourself. Your body keeps score. The aches, the brain fog, the anxiety that won't go away, the sleep you can't seem to get, the irritability over small things. These are not random. These are signals, messages from your body that something's not sustainable, that you've been running too fast for too long with no pause. You cannot numb your way through it forever. No coffee, no scrolling, no self-talk will heal a body in survival mode. You need real rest, and not just sleep. You need soul rest, the kind where you're allowed to just be. No pressure, no performance, no proving, just stillness. You deserve rest even when life is good. It's easy to justify rest when you're grieving, or heartbroken, or overwhelmed. But what about when things are fine? When work is good? When relationships are stable? You think, I should be fine now. I shouldn't need a break. But joy is just as draining as pain. Stability still requires energy. Even the life you prayed for needs maintenance. Rest is not only for hard seasons, it's for sustaining good ones too. So rest, not because you're falling apart, but because you're choosing to stay whole. Honor your rhythm. You don't need to move at anyone else's pace. You don't need to explain why you're tired. You don't need to mimic hustle culture. You don't need to chase timelines that don't align with your truth. You are allowed to move slowly, to pause intentionally, to recover fully. And trust this, when you rest, you don't fall behind. You return stronger, with clarity, with intention, with creativity and presence that no burnout could ever offer. Rest to remember who you are, because when you slow down, truly slow down, you remember what matters. You remember who you were before you tied your identity to how much you could carry. You reconnect with your voice, your body, your breath, your joy, your peace. So don't wait until you collapse to rest. Don't make rock bottom your reset button. Choose rest on purpose. Choose rest without guilt. Choose rest because you are worthy of ease, not just survival. Let rest be the sacred space where you come home to yourself again. Somewhere along the way, you were taught to shrink, to tone it down, to not be too much, too loud, too opinionated, too sensitive, too confident, too ambitious, too emotional, to be softer, quieter, easier to digest. So you dimmed your light. You made yourself smaller in rooms that couldn't hold you. You stayed quiet when your soul wanted to speak. You edited your dreams so they'd seem more realistic. You apologized for your presence, your power, your passion. But now, here, in this chapter of your life, you're being asked to stop apologizing for being exactly who you are. You were never meant to be a mirror for their comfort. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will like you. And that's okay. You weren't born to be universally accepted. You were born to be authentically you. When people ask you to shrink, they're often just uncomfortable with their own smallness. When they say, "You've changed," what they often mean is, "You're no longer staying stuck. Where I'm comfortable. Let them misunderstand you. Let them talk. Let them go. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Your personality isn't a problem. You've been told you're too intense, too emotional, too quiet, too weird, too real. But your personality is a flaw. It's your fingerprint, your frequency, your signal to the people who are meant to find you. What they called too emotional was actually empathy. What they called too intense was actually passion. What they labeled awkward might be your deep thoughtfulness. What they called soft is your kindness, rare and needed. You're not too much. You're just not for everyone. And that is your power. No more apologies for taking up space. You don't need to apologize when you speak up, when you have an opinion, when you say no, when you ask for what you need, when you say, "I deserve better." You don't need to soften your boundaries to be liked. You don't need to explain why you're healing, growing, detaching. You are allowed to change, to evolve, to outgrow environments, relationships, and identities. You're allowed to stand tall in rooms that once intimidated you, to walk away from people who once defined you, to choose peace over approval. Stop saying sorry for doing what's best for your spirit. You are not a burden. Maybe someone made you feel like your needs were too much, like your emotions were inconvenient, like your dreams were unrealistic, like your truth was too raw to hold. But hear this clearly. You are not a burden. Your emotions are valid. Your voice matters. Your boundaries are healthy. Your dreams are possible. You don't need to make yourself easier to love. You need to love yourself so deeply that you never again abandon who you are just to keep someone else comfortable. Be loud. Be soft. Be both. You don't have to choose between strength and softness. You're allowed to be both. Loud and thoughtful. Bold and tender. Fierce and kind. Still and unstoppable. Let your complexity exist without explanation. You are not required to simplify yourself so others can understand. You are not a quote on a page. You are an entire book, full of nuance, contradiction, beauty, depth. And the right people won't be confused by you. They'll recognize you. There's no medal for self-erasure. No one hands out trophies for suffering in silence. No one celebrates the quiet pain of pretending. No one is clapping for the version of you who keeps hiding just be accepted. But there is deep freedom in choosing you, in showing up fully, in letting the mask fall and saying, "This is me. Take it or leave it." Because the ones who truly love you won't need you to shrink. They'll hold space for your fullness. They'll reflect your light back to you. They'll remind you that your truth is not too much. It's medicine. Let this be the chapter where you stop shrinking. You've spent enough years being quiet, enough time apologizing, enough days second-guessing your voice, your light, your magic. So from this day forward, speak like your words matter, because they do. Walk like you own the space, because you do. Create without asking for permission. Say no without guilt. Say yes without apology. And never again dim your flame to fit into shadows that were never meant for you. You are not here to be palatable. You are here to be powerful. It's easy to look around and feel like you're falling behind. Everyone seems to be getting ahead. The job, the relationship, the home, the followers, the goals, the glow up. You start asking yourself questions that sound like panic. Why am I not there yet? What am I doing wrong? Did I miss my moment? Is it too late for me? But here's what nobody tells you loud enough. You're not behind. You're in a season. Life is not a race. It's a rhythm. You were meant to sprint through life with no pause. You're not late. You're not early. You're not lost. You're arriving step by step in your own divine timing. Some people bloom early. Some people bloom late. Some people are rebuilding quietly, deep beneath the surface. Some are just now discovering their soil. But the comparison? It's poison. Their timeline is not yours. Their chapter 20 is not your chapter 4. Their highlight reel is not your full story. And what you think is falling behind might just be the sacred pause before your next becoming. Progress isn't always loud. Growth can look like healing quietly in the background, choosing peace over performance, taking smaller steps that no one notices, saying no more than you say yes, letting go of a path that used to define you. Not all forward movement makes noise. Sometimes the most powerful shifts happen in stillness, in silence, in private, in seasons where you feel like you're standing still, but you're really aligning with what's real. The timeline you're following might not be yours. Who told you you're late? Was it a voice online? Was it a parent's fear? Was it a culture that worships speed and status? Was it your own inner critic repeating someone else's story? Let's rewrite that now. You're not late. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're becoming. You're realigning. You're remembering. And sometimes it requires slowness, because rushing doesn't get you there faster. It just gets you there more disconnected. Honor the season you're in. If this is your season of rest, honor it. If this is your season of uncertainty, be present in it. If this is your season of rebuilding, build slowly, build strong. If this is your season of clarity, speak boldly and move with purpose. Every season has something to teach you, and if you try to skip one, you may miss the very lesson that's shaping your future self. The seed doesn't look like the flower. The caterpillar doesn't resemble the butterfly. The cocoon looks like nothing is happening. Until it is. Your pace is sacred. Let go of the urgency. Let go of the shame. Let go of the narrative that says you should be further along by now. You're not a brand. You're not a clock. You're not a product. You're a living being, evolving through grief, joy, failure, discovery, beauty, loneliness, love, and longing. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to take up space while you figure it out. You are allowed to move slowly and still arrive. Trust your unfolding. This isn't the end. This is just the in-between. The space where your roots are deepening. The moment before everything breaks through. So breathe. You're not too late. You're not missing it. You're exactly where you need to be to become who you're meant to be. The path may not look like theirs, but it's yours. And that makes it perfect. There's a space in life that nobody prepares you for. The in-between. Not quite where you were. Not yet where you're going. A strange, uncomfortable middle, where you feel lost, tired, unsure, and alone. This chapter of your story has no clear title, no glamorous quote, no loud applause. It's quiet, it's tender, it's raw, but it's here, in this vulnerable in-between, that you learn what real love looks like, not from the world, but from yourself. Can you love the you that's not there yet? It's easy to love yourself when you're winning, when things are clicking, when you're admired, chosen, celebrated. But what about the version of you that's still becoming? Still healing? Still unsure? Can you love the you who doesn't have it all figured out, still makes mistakes, is tired, overwhelmed, and confused, cries for no reason, doubts their own path, feels like giving up some days? Can you offer that version of yourself grace? Not pity, not judgment, not tough love, but softness. Because the truth is, you don't need to arrive to be worthy of love. This space has a purpose. You may not see it now, but the in-between is not a mistake. This is where foundations are rebuilt, where lies are unlearned, where broken pieces are held with care, not shame, where your soul finds what truly matters. In the in-between, you rest, you listen, you become aware of who you are without the roles, the titles, the noise. You learn to stop chasing and start receiving. This space is not empty. It is sacred. Even in the silence, you are growing. You are allowed to slow down. Not every day has to be productive. Not every moment has to be a breakthrough. Not every season is meant to look like success. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is rest without guilt, breathe without fixing, exist without proving, feel without running. You're not lazy. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're processing. You're unfolding. You're becoming more honest with yourself than you've ever been. Let that be enough today. Treat yourself the way you'd treat a child. If your inner child sat beside you right now, tired, crying, uncertain, would you say, "Hurry up. Why aren't you better yet? Everyone else is ahead of you." No, you'd hold them. You'd say, "It's okay to be tired. You're still good, even when you're struggling. I'm proud of you just for trying." That's how you begin healing. That's how you love yourself back into wholeness. You are still deserving, even here, even if your room is messy, even if your inbox is full, even if you haven't responded to texts, even if you feel off, even if you haven't met your goals, even if you feel like a mess today. You are still enough. You are still worthy. You are still lovable. You are allowed to be a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. The in-between is preparing you. One day, you'll look back on the season and say, "That was when I found myself. That was when I stopped pretending. That was when I chose me, even in the dark. That was the moment I finally slowed down long enough to hear my truth." The space is shaping you. It's not forever, but it matters more than you know. So take care of the person you are right now, the not there yet version, the growing version, the softer, slower, more honest version, because they are the one carrying you forward with quiet strength and infinite grace. There will be days when you feel like you're finally making progress. You're waking up lighter, breathing easier, laughing more, believing again, and then, without warning, you feel it all crash again. The grief, the doubt, the fear, the ache, the numbness, and you wonder, "I thought I was past this. I thought I already healed that. Why does it still hurt? Am I going backwards?" But hear this gently. You're not broken. You're human. And healing was never meant to be linear. It doesn't mean you failed. You're not back at the beginning. You're revisiting something. This time with more wisdom, more tenderness, more capacity to feel it instead of run from it. Progress isn't always up and forward. Sometimes it loops. Sometimes it spirals. Sometimes it pauses. But none of that means you're not healing. Stop measuring healing by how happy you are. Healing isn't always joy. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's grieving what you never let yourself grieve. Sometimes it's remembering things you tried to forget. Sometimes it's rage or silence or ugly crying on the floor. And still it's healing. We've been taught that better means smiling, that strong means unfazed, that healthy means positive all the time. But real healing looks like letting yourself feel without shame, resting without guilt, setting boundaries even when it's hard, speaking truth you once swallowed, sitting in silence instead of running from it. Real healing looks like honesty, not perfection. Give yourself permission to be where you are. You don't need to rush. You don't need to explain. You don't need to be better by now. If today all you did was breathe, that was enough. If you broke down, that was healing. If you got triggered, that was another layer surfacing. If you got through the day without giving up, that was strength. You are not weak for still feeling it. You are strong for still showing up through it. Healing is remembering what you forgot about yourself. It's not just removing pain. It's returning to who you were before the world wounded you. The parts of you that were buried beneath. Trauma, people-pleasing, overachievement, rejection, constant survival. Your healing is revealing, and sometimes it gets darker before it gets clearer. Not because you're failing, but because you're finally seeing what was always there. You're learning to sit with your shadow and still know you are good. You don't heal to be more productive. You don't need to fix yourself to be worthy. You don't need to become a better version for others to approve of you. You are allowed to heal for you, for your peace, your clarity, your softness, your freedom, not to be more useful, not to be more impressive, not to be more liked. You don't have to become anything other than your truest self. Keep going, even if it's quiet. Some days you'll feel proud. Some days you'll feel heavy. Some days you'll wonder if any of it matters. But it does. You do. Your healing matters. You are rewriting patterns passed down for generations. You are facing what others avoided. You are softening what the world tried to harden in you. So if today feels like a step backward, remember, backwards is part of the spiral. It's still moving forward, just deeper. Keep breathing. Keep feeling. Keep trusting your pace. Healing isn't a straight line, but you're still on your way, even when it feels like standing still.